Yeah, hello, is this Bill Gates? Oh, Bill Gates, how's it going? Warren Buffett put me onto you. This is Tristan from Cooper Academy. Oh, yeah, you watch it? Yeah, nah, wasn't a bad video. You know, actually some people don't believe that, I had Warren Buffett's number. Can you believe it? Oh, crazy. Oh, yeah, you gotta go? Oh, okay. Fair enough, Bill. Alright, have a good day. Oh, crud, I forgot to ask him what his top 10 stocks were. I guess I'll just have to look them up online like everyone else. So guys, Bill Gates, a lot of people think of him as the entrepreneur, the philanthropist, who's just a genius, but they don't really know Bill Gates as an investor. Truth be told, Bill Gates is a very smart investor and he's got a very smart investing team around him. How do I know this? Well, okay, Microsoft from 1999 to 2016 made a 0% return, okay? It was very overvalued in 1999. And it literally made no return for 17 years. But funnily enough, during this time, Bill Gates managed to make himself the richest man in the world. How did he do this? Well, he did this through very smart investing. He did this through selling off a lot of Microsoft shares back when they were overvalued and buying into wonderful companies at good prices. So Bill Gates, yes, he's a genius entrepreneur. He's a very good guy. He's a great philanthropist, but he's actually a very smart investor, and his head investor is extremely smart as well, a guy by the name of Michael Larson. And through his investments, it's made him into the second richest man in the world at the moment. Jeff Bezos has just overtaken Bill Gates. Anyway, let's look at Bill Gates' top 10 stock picks for 2019 and the years beyond. So Bill Gates' largest stock position by a long shot is the company run by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. It's sitting at over 50% of Bill Gates' portfolio. Now, Warren Buffett has been Bill Gates' good friend for a long time now and has influenced the way Bill Gates invests today. And Bill Gates has talked about this before. He has said, just like Warren Buffett, he focuses on buying wonderful businesses and then he does not worry about the rest. He does not worry about the economy or the elections because he knows he's got a great business that will do well no matter what. One business that will do well in all market conditions over the long term is Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, as I've said, is the investing firm run and started by Warren Buffett. So Berkshire Hathaway invests in a bunch of stocks and also buys out companies outright. They own wonderful businesses like Geico and See's Candy, and they own stocks like Coca-Cola, Apple, and Bank of America. So this was something that Bill Gates and his head investor Michael Larson saw, that if they own Berkshire Hathaway, they would be really well diversified through some of the best businesses in America. So what they did is they put over 50% of their portfolio into this one stock. And now they own the highest amount of Berkshire Hathaway's Class B stock out of every investor, more than any other one. Warren Buffett is the largest holder of the Class A stock, but the average investor won't be able to buy this as they're worth over $300,000 US dollars. The Class B shares are obviously more affordable. Let's quickly delve deeper into the numbers before we move on to the next stock. So BRKB is selling for a price that is just over $200. Their market cap is over $500 billion. The PE ratio is 8.30, which you should not read anything into because this does include one-off earnings from President Trump's tax break in 2018. Their forward PE is something smarter to look at, which is 20.23. But the most important metric we should look at is their price to book value, which is 1.37. This is how Warren Buffett essentially decides if he will buy back the stock or not. You really want to be buying this stock, if you can, when the price to book value is at its lowest. If I see the price decrease sharply enough, then I may buy into the stock. I'm just waiting for when everyone panics and then I can get into this beautiful company at a cheap price. So, most people would have thought Microsoft would have been Gates' largest holding, but no, as I said, Gates and Larson were smart and sold out of a lot of their shares when it was overvalued in 1999 in the tech bubble. As of today, just 10.63% of Gates' portfolio is in Microsoft, and I'm sure Bill Gates has been pretty happy with Microsoft's performance over the past couple of years. It's up over 180% from the past 5 years, and it's now, at the time of making this video, the world's second most valuable company. So Microsoft is a company that does a couple of main things. First, you probably know them for the Microsoft Windows line of computer hardware, very popular, and I believe it's Apple's main competition. Then they have the Microsoft Office suite segments, which I'm sure you all know very well by now. Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. They also own the Internet Explorer, probably Google's main competitor in that field. And these segments have turned Microsoft into a very valuable company, as I say, currently selling for a price of $105, and as you can see, that price trend is pretty healthy. As the rest of the market has gone down, Microsoft has gone up around 20%. As well as this, Microsoft pay a dividend with a yield of 1.76%. Rightio, Gates' third largest position, coming in at 6.65% of his portfolio, is Caterpillar. So Caterpillar is a company which designs, develops, makes and sells machinery, engines, financial products and insurance. But obviously they're mainly known for their machinery. So Caterpillar stock has been one of those stocks that has fell with the market. Year to date, they're down from $149 to $130, and a lot of this is due to softer demand in China and just the overall stock market being down. One of the things you'll notice about Caterpillar stock is that they pay a half-decent dividend with a 2.58% yield, which I'm sure Gates likes as he can use this cash to pay for his philanthropy and what not. Also, it's got a low PE ratio at just 12.76. So just behind Caterpillar in terms of size is Waste Management, sitting at 6.52% of Gates' portfolio. And Bill Gates is someone who does a lot of positive things for the world. And this investment is a company that is providing a lot of positives to society, a lot of value. And what the company does is pretty much, it's all in the name. It provides services to manage waste. From each stage, to the collecting of waste, to the disposal, Waste Management will be involved. They have 243 solid waste landfills and 310 transfer stations in North America. This stock is one that is considered more recession-proof because no matter what market condition we are in, people will still produce waste, and thus they will need the waste to be managed. Waste Management is selling for a healthy round number of exactly $96, and you know, they have had a nice wee increase in price over the past month or so. PE ratio is just below the market at 18.15, and they also pay a dividend of 1.94%. Gates likes his dividends, as we've talked about before, and as you'll soon find out. This railway serves both Canada and the Midwestern and Southern United States across over 20,000 miles of track, and it makes up 5.96% of Bill Gates' portfolio. And you know, one of the things that Warren Buffett taught Bill Gates is to invest in companies with wide moats. A wide moat means a strong competitive advantage, and this railway certainly has that wide moat because it's got all of this infrastructure already built down. So companies can't just come in and say, I'm going to compete with C&I, because first they have to build, 20,000 miles of railway. So it's a great business model, selling for a price of $83. By the way, guys, if you live in Canada, just type in the ticker symbol CNR and you'll find the same stock available on the Toronto Stock Exchange, since it is a Canadian company, obviously. Nice and low PE ratio over here, and they pay a dividend yield of 1.95%. Well, you may not have heard of Canadian National Railway, but I'm sure you've all heard of Walmart, the cheap chain of department and grocery stores, and makes up 4.22% of Dalio's portfolio. Bill Gates is a more defensive investor, and actually when he first hired Michael Larson, he was looking for a conservative investor with integrity. And Walmart is definitely a more defensive, conservative stock to own. They're a company that's still going to be making sales sales even in a recession because people still need cheap food and cheap items. Also, the stock has a lot of physical assets on its balance sheet, which helps with a margin of safety. Walmart is selling for a price of $94.70, and they actually got quite a high PE ratio for such a large retail discount store. I'm quite surprised by that. The PE ratio is almost 30. They pay a dividend just over 2%, and that price has kind of been similar to the overall American market, down slightly. Again, this is a more defensive stock pick by Gates, or should I say by Gates' head investor, Michael Larson. FedEx is obviously the transportation business in the US, and it makes up 2.82% of Bill Gates' portfolio. I would argue that FedEx is a business that still has a solid growth capacity, since more and more people require stuff to be sent. I mean, e-commerce, it's certainly no dying industry, which means people and businesses constantly require things to get delivered. I mean, if we look at the revenue and earnings, we can certainly see a growth story. Earnings grew from $1 billion to $4.5 billion in just 3 years, and revenue has been growing as well over the long term. It's also going for a pretty cheap PE ratio of 9.93 and pays a dividend of 1.42%. But that price has been on a downward trend, which, by the way, is not necessarily a bad thing, to the contrary of what most investors think. In my mind, this is a typical Bill Gates stock. It's a company called Ecolab, ticker symbol ECL, and it makes up 2.65% of Bill Gates' portfolio. Now, why do I say this is a typical Bill Gates stock? Well, because Ecolab is a company that provides water, hygiene, and energy services for the food, energy, healthcare, industrial, and hospitality markets. And this company is all about sustainability and serving human needs to a greater capacity. All of the things that Bill Gates tries to do in the world, which is help and ensure that all humans get their basic needs met. Hygiene, water, energy, etc. The stock price is $159, PE ratio is 29.2, and that dividend yield is quite low at 1%. But at least there's something. Medium-sized stock at a almost $46 billion market cap. Crown Castle International is America's largest provider of shared communications infrastructure. They have more than 40,000 cell towers and around 60,000 miles of fiber solutions across the US. For those who don't know, fiber is something used to transmit telephone signals, internet signals, and TV signals. So again, you got to think about this. This is another business with a massive moat. You can't just say, I'm going to compete with Crown Castle and build 40,000 cell towers and 60,000 miles of fiber solutions. Another Warren Buffett-like business, and it's really adhering to Buffett's Rule 1, which is don't lose money. Crown Castle makes up 2.3% of Gates' portfolio and pays a dividend yield of 3.83%. And that's one thing that you'll notice about Gates' portfolio, as I've said quite a few times now, is that he loves these dividend-paying stocks because he can use that cash for his philanthropic efforts. Gates owns 17 publicly traded stocks, and 13 of those stocks are dividend paying. And I'm sure you've noticed a pattern across the stocks that Gates owns. He likes more defensive stocks. He likes these transportation and delivery businesses. He likes businesses that deliver and serve basic human needs, like water, hygiene, or even discount stores. And UPS, it's no different. UPS is a package, delivery, and supply chain management company and makes up 2.05% of Gates' portfolio. It's a business that has been around since 1907. And it's just, in essence, a classic, traditional business that most Americans will know well. As for the stock, it sells for $106 per share. Looking at the numbers, while they're not unattractive, the PE is sitting at 19.3. The dividend, pretty nice for today's market, at 3.42%. And it's hovering near that $100 billion market cap.
So guys, I think we can learn a lot from Bill Gates' investments, or should I say Michael Larson's investments. He's the head investor, he's the one who does all the research behind the stock picks. I really want to put that out there. Michael Larson deserves most of the credit for the stock picks. So it was him and Bill Gates that really got him into being a multi-billionaire, even though Microsoft literally did nothing for a good 17 years. How did they do this? They did this through following Warren Buffett's investing style, through buying wonderful companies at cheap prices with wide moats, and being more conservative with their investing approach. That's what has really made Bill Gates into the richest man in the world. Yes, he did start off by making an amazing company in Microsoft, then he sold those shares when they were overvalued at a very high price, diversified throughout wonderful companies, and it's made him into a very, very rich man. If we can follow the investing style of Michael Larson, Bill Gates, who have really followed Warren Buffett, picking these great companies at great prices, we can all do very well as investors and make some great compounding rates of return. Guys, I'm going to catch you all in the next video. I hope you enjoyed that one.